Scrubs Season 9 made some very questionable decisions that damaged the show's legacy, and those missteps must be learned from when the sitcom comes back. The Scrubs revival will account for the show's softly rebooted med school episodes, keeping everything together as part of the same canon. Although refusing to ignore Scrubs, med school has ruffled the feathers of many devoted fans, it makes sense to keep Scrubs Season 9 intact. However, Scrubs Season 10 needs to be careful not to follow too closely in its predecessor's footsteps. Scrubs currently has 3 finales. The first came at the end of Scrubs Season 7, when the 2007 to 2008 writers' strike affected many shows, including Scrubs. The disruption meant Scrubs Season 8 of May not have been possible, but it ultimately was after a network switch from NBC to ABC. Scrubs Season 8's My Finale two-parter is widely accepted as the most notable stopping point for the sitcom, as it feels brilliant and incredibly intentional. Scrubs, Med School also had a finale, but it can't have been what showrunner Bill Lawrence had in mind. Scrubs revival must have a satisfying finale after Season 9's abrupt ending. Our Thanks felt like a mid-season episode. Kerry Bishé giving a speech as Lucy Bennett in Scrubs. Scrubs Season 9, Episode 13, Our Thanks, is forced into the position of being the show's final episode. Although the installment concludes in a traditionally uplifting manner, it doesn't feel anything like a big farewell. There's a very simple explanation for that: it was never intended to be. Scrubs viewing figures and general reception plummeted during med school, so ABC pulled the plug shortly after it ended. So, Our Thanks was left as a loose end and a thoroughly underwhelming way to see off the sitcom. Scrubs Season 10 now has a huge responsibility to make sure the same thing doesn't happen again. Although the show never matched the popularity of some of its contemporaries, like Friends, Scrubs' quality was evident throughout its golden era. It fell apart for med school, but that was always a possibility given the show's drastic overhaul. Creator Bill Lawrence has already admitted Scrubs Season 10 will be a blend of new and old characters like Season 9. But he has likely learned from previous mistakes. Hopefully, he's able to give the revival a proper finale, unlike Med School. Scrubs, Med School immediately undid the show's perfect Season 8 finale. My Finale would have been the perfect place to end Scrubs. The announcement of Scrubs Season 9 took pretty much everyone by surprise. The show had wrapped everything up in a neat little bow at the end of Scrubs Season 8. My Finale had everything from an emotional farewell to an open-ended promise of what was to come for Zach Braff's Dr. John J.D. Dorian. So, Lawrence had to pull off something incredibly special and worthwhile to justify moving on from Season 8's final moments. Sadly, Scrubs, Med School crashed and burned, and wasn't even able to replace My Finale as a genuine stopping point. Part of what made My Finale so great was the coy exchange between JD and the unnamed janitor at the end. The latter is actually played by Bill Lawrence, so it's a meta farewell between the showrunner and his leading man. That was always going to be a tricky moment to beat, and so was JD's fantasy montage. It was bold to even try, but Season 9 fell short in every conceivable way, with another absence being the realization of JD's wedding. Instead, Braff's character getting married to Elliot, Sarah Chalk, was relegated to an off-screen occurrence. How Scrubs Season 10 can avoid a second abrupt ending in a row. The Scrubs revival can't plan too far into the future. Zach Braff looking confused as JD in Scrubs. Speaking with Lad Bible before the Scrubs revival had been officially greenlit, Lawrence said his goal was to make a couple more seasons of the medical sitcom. While this may sound exciting, it's also arguably a lofty ambition. Sitcom revivals can be a mixed bag, as proven by Frasier's revival era being cancelled after just 2 seasons, with there clearly being signs that the story wasn't over. So, Scrubs Season 10 must be careful not to end on a cliffhanger, or it risks doubling down on Med School's terrible conclusion. There is a relatively easy way the Scrubs revival can pull this off. Because a cliffhanger would be so risky, the best course of action is to make Scrubs Season 10 a self-contained narrative that focuses more on the show's past and present rather than anything too far into the future. The run can still have a big finale, and even one that can be continued from, but said continuation needs to be optional rather than necessary. In other words, Scrubs Season 10 needs to avoid coming to a close too open-endedly.